Hi everyone, good morning. It's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. I hope that you're having a really good day today, that you're feeling strong and optimistic and positive. I think it's a bit of a challenging time for us. I think older women maybe are just feeling like we're not kind of making as much of a contribution in this world as we would like to. And I just hope that you feel strong and you feel supported, by this 60 and Me community to do those things that you want in your life. It's super important. We've done so much for other people all our lives, and I think we've, now gone through this transition, of like, what's next? What is the next step? I actually took a look at the video that I had written or that I had recorded like 4 years ago about the purpose of 60 and Me. And it really was to say, this is your time. You've lived 6 decades, you're lucky enough to be here now, and you can bring to this new generation a whole new way of looking at the world. And anyway, the first thing first, though, you're going to have a cup of tea. So I've got my tea here. I've got English breakfast this morning. It's my standby tea. I love it, and it's a very strongly nostalgic cup of tea for me. It reminds me about how strong women can be, and just how much of a role we have to play in this world as we go forward. We've got to have the confidence that we can make a difference and make an impact. Now, there's an article that's going around on social networks, which is kind of an interesting one, and I wanted to discuss it with you, share some of the ideas in it, and get your feedback. And I'd love to give the author our feedback too, because it's a very interesting viewpoint. Now, the author of this book that the article refers to is a man. His name is Joseph Coughlin. He heads up an MIT School for Aging or Department of Aging Research. And he's written a book, and I want to get it right. It's called The Longevity Economy: Unlocking the World's Fastest Growing, Most Misunderstood Market. Guess who that is? Yeah, it's us. It's older women. So he's written this book, and it's a very, very interesting book. A lot of the numbers are being thrown around. I have not read the book myself yet. Maybe some of you have, but it's been in Next Avenue and Huffington Post, all kinds of New Yorker, all kinds of people are referring to this article because the facts he brings forward are pretty convincing. So he says, if you're a woman with a bit of life experience, you already know you are the boss. I like this guy. But no, he's really realistic about it. He says, women know this, and they know that they've got experience and wisdom. They've got more power now, women over 50, than they ever have had. A lot of it's financial power. Some of it is just wisdom and life experience. So he says, for example, women are more likely to drive in the health decisions in a family. Older women, control the spending. They care for millennials, their children, and their grandchildren sometimes, and also for the elders, for their parents. So us older women are in that kind of sandwich generation that's often written about, where we are controlling the spending, household spending, for those very wide number of generations, up to 4 generations. We are more likely to start a divorce process in our 60s, and we're also more likely to initiate a divorce. This is start a business, I should say, and initiate a divorce. So we're more likely to do those things. These are statistically numbers that he has got. He has researched. So it's not a made up number. So in other words, older women rule. They really do, and that's the title or the subtitle of his article, which is female power, rules, and it's going to be the trend for the future. So the only challenge: does the world know this? Does the world know that we are this powerful, influential community of women? Sometimes we feel awkward because we consider that we're invisible. We're not. Sometimes we feel that we're not being heard. We are. We just have to keep being tenacious and persistent in the conversations, not arguing and being defensive, but being positive. I remember when I interviewed Ashton Applewhite, who wrote a book on This Chair Rocks, which is about ageism in the workplace. She said, no point saying fight ageism. We're pushing back. And that's what I think, we do in these conversations, is that we are the trailblazers that others should be following. We just have to let them know that. And we have to mix our conversations in ways that they understand it and that it relates to their life experience too. So the longevity economy, unlocking the world's fastest growing, most misunderstood market. That is, as you said, that's us. Now, the thing that he talks about, which I think is really interesting, is that as people get older, the trend is for female to get to the future to become more female focused. But advertising, for example, is very heavily weighted into the male leadership. Most creative directors in large brand companies are guys. And there's a lot of people that are trying to push this and change that ratio. We are, in his opinion, the greatest underappreciated source of innovation and new business. I mean, there are more older women and men starting businesses over 50 than there are from that younger generation. So we have the experience, the know-how, the networks to make this possible. Now, there are some people who don't want to work in their 60s, and and a lot of our women would answer, I can hear the comments, I'm done with working. I don't want to start a new business. But you still have financial influence, which I think is where he's getting at, that we're misunderstood, but we have power. Now, why does he say that the future is all about women and about especially older women? Well, we do more. We have been in the workplace now for many years as a shared partner. Before, many years ago, the man was the breadwinner and women didn't work. But we do more now. We work. We take care of the household. We juggle the responsibilities. We make purchases. We plan travel. We are the organizers in chief. We're the researchers of the house. I know I research stuff for my son. He often calls me up and says, hey, do you know this or that? And I'll say, yeah, let's check it out. I know these sites. And, the women of the future are the researchers of the house. And I think even millennials look up to us, I think, for the way that we're so savvy about technology. And then that's, of course, one of the stereotypes that we have to fight. He says, we're the caregiver in chief. We look after our parents and we look after older adults who are in our care. It could be our partner, because, of course, men we know don't live as long as we do. And this longevity is giving us the opportunity to help them through that transition that they're making. And I don't know what the percentage is in our community, but I know we have a lot of women who are alone, having lost their partners, their husbands and partners. So for a lot of women, they're living to be 80, 90, even 100 years old. It's not even unusual anymore for women, and men too, but for women mostly to live to 100. He mentions the cards in the grocery stores now, celebrating a 100th birthday. It's just not as big a deal. And as we've mentioned before, women are the chief consumer officer. They are the ones who know what groceries are purchased, what brands, how to save money, where to go to get bargains. They know these things. Why? Because we've had to do it, and because we're practiced, and we take pride in it. We take it for granted, We just take for granted that we know all this stuff, but it's not. That people, don't know that we have this base of knowledge. One thing he points out, I guess the book has a lot of statistics. Like, for example, cars are mostly purchased by women over 60 or over 50, or they influence the decision. And this, not just their car, but the influence of families' purchasing decision as well. Home improvements are also apparently very much driven by women and women over 50 who, own the house, live in the house, or are giving advice to their younger children or, friends. So they know where the bargains are and they know how to negotiate. I just, as I'm saying these words, I just know we know how to do this, and we just doubt ourselves so much, but we don't. But I think that if anything from this conversation, I just want you to feel stronger in your ability to influence a decision. Cars are one thing. Another thing he mentions, of course, is that we are pretty networked. We make it a habit to write names down of people, grab that business card, make a mental note. That person can help me do that. We're helpers, we're collaborators, communicators. We just know how to do that. So I think that's really important. Another thing he says, in addition to being the chief operating officers of the household, we also are the chief relationship builders. Now, it's true that the number one divorce rate in the country, the United States, of course, is a women over 50. As I mentioned earlier, they are ready to break away. When the children are away from the home, they're ready to go if they've been in an unhappy situation and they just want to, live their lives on their terms, have fun, be free of drama, free of any challenges. And he mentions that, men celebrate retirement. Woo, I'm going to go and play golf. I'm going to go and rest and relax. And that's kind of a celebration. I made it. Women are saying, let's reinvent myself. Let's do something different. Let's wear those floral leggings. I don't care anymore. Really just let's do the things that I want to do. So men kind of celebrate their retirement, whereas women celebrate reinvention. I think that's really important. And he actually says that men are going to up their game here. This is like men are expecting, if they're going to keep their marriage organized together, they've got to realize their women are getting strong. And a final thing he talks about is entrepreneurship, and I mentioned that briefly. He's got all the numbers here to show where women are going with entrepreneur businesses. He says that a lot of women, of course, are being managed out of jobs in corporations, and he's saying that's their loss. It's their loss to let older women go. And women are just ignoring that, being innovative and doing their own thing. So I'd love to know more about what you're doing. I mean, even if it's not a business, what other projects are you working on? How are you taking the things you love and turning them into a lifestyle? I think that's something, I'm sure it's in the book, but I didn't read it in the articles. But I guess the final point here, and I want to make sure I do cover these things because these are really important. If we're going to make a difference, if we're going to have our voices heard, we're going to have the power to actualize what James Coughlin is saying about the future of being about older women and female power. First of all, save money. You've got to save money. You've got to, oops, I just dropped my piece of paper, but it doesn't matter. I know what it is. You've got to save money. It's really, really important. The second thing is you've got to build social connections. You've got to network and you've got to have friends in your life. You've got to know what's, who's important to you and who's going to be able to not just help you, like help in the supportive sense, but it'd be innovative with you, to give you ideas, to go into conversations that add a yes and instead of a yes but. So social connections is the next thing. And then the final thing is to just really know yourself. Know what you want out of your life. And then not be afraid to make the changes that you need to make. I know this is hard. I'm talking to a couple of people right now, you know who you are, who are undertaking some very, very big changes in their lives. And they've done that process. They've built a social network. They've saved a little money, or as much as they can, but they're going for it. They're truly going for it. So I hope that was a useful conversation. I really would love to get your thoughts on this because I think that James Coughlin, has taken a lot of time to write this book and to support this concept that, that women are a very underrated demographic. Older women are not taken as seriously as we should be, and that the future is female. And that the future being female is about the power of older women like you and I to make a difference. So I think it's a pretty cool conversation, and I would love to get your thoughts. So just tell me, do you agree that the future is a female future and that older women have a power to make a difference in the world? I'd love the comments. Just leave them in the section below. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a really good conversation, and I'll join in too. And we'll get back and maybe do another video on what you say. I'd love that. Okay, everybody. Well, have a really wonderful day. I hope this has been an inspirational conversation. I look forward to reading your comments and look forward to speaking with you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.